Hello, precious soul. Today is Thursday, the 11th of September, and I am deeply honored that you have chosen to pause here with me. This moment we share is not merely a break in your routine. It is a sacred invitation into stillness, a holy interruption where your weary heart can find rest and your anxious thoughts can settle like dust after a storm. If you have found your way to this prayer today, perhaps it is because your heart carries a weight that feels too heavy to bear alone. Perhaps you have been standing in faith for so long that your knees have begun to shake, not from lack of belief, but from the sheer exhaustion of believing day after day while nothing seems to change. Waiting on God is perhaps the most challenging discipline of faith. It asks us to hold hope when evidence seems absent, to maintain trust when the calendar mocks our prayers, and to keep believing when silence feels louder than any answer we desperately seek. And if we speak honestly, if we remove the masks we wear even in prayer, we must admit that sometimes the waiting feels like abandonment. Maybe you have been asking God for direction, and the path ahead remains shrouded in fog. Maybe your heart yearns for restoration in a relationship that seems to drift further away with each passing day. Perhaps you have stood faithful, believing for provision, for healing, for breakthrough, and yet the sunrise brings only another day that looks exactly like yesterday. The nights stretch endlessly when we wait. Doubts creep in like uninvited guests, whispering that maybe our prayers have hit a ceiling, that maybe we misunderstood God's promises, that maybe we are foolish to keep hoping. But beloved, I need you to hear this truth with the ears of your spirit. God's seeming silence is not his absence. His timing that confounds our logic is not neglect. The delay you are experiencing is not denial. Even when you cannot trace his hand in your circumstances, his heart remains turned toward you with an intensity of love that would overwhelm you if you could fully grasp it. The waiting season, though it feels barren, is often the richest soil for the deepest growth. Between the moment you plant your prayer in faith and the moment you see it bloom into reality, God is doing underground work that will one day astonish you. If someone just came to your mind as I described these waiting seasons, someone you have been carrying in prayer, perhaps someone whose situation feels too painful to even speak about, I invite you to type just their first initial in the comments below. Just one letter. That single letter represents your faith still holding on for them. And when you type it, hundreds of others reading this will join their faith with yours, even without knowing the details. There is power when we stand together in the waiting. So today, we come together not to rush God, not to manipulate outcomes, not to pretend the waiting is easy. We come to learn how to breathe in the space between promise and fulfillment. We come to discover that God is not only present in the answered prayers, but profoundly near in the waiting rooms of life. His presence does not require perfect circumstances. His love does not depend on solved problems. He is here right now, in your uncertainty, in your questions, in the tender ache of hope deferred. Take a moment now to let your shoulders release their tension. Allow your breathing to deepen and slow. God is not checking his watch, impatient with your process. You do not need to have perfect faith to approach him. You need only to come as you are, with whatever mixture of faith and doubt you carry today. You need only to be real, to be present, to be willing to let him meet you exactly where you stand. My friend, as we enter into this prayer together, I want to remind you of something vital. You are not invisible to heaven. Your situation is not too small for God's attention, nor too complex for his wisdom. He who numbers the stars knows your name. He who holds the oceans in the palm of his hand is intimately acquainted with every tear you have cried in secret. You are held, even when you feel like you are falling. You are seen, even when you feel invisible. You are deeply, eternally, unconditionally loved, even when you struggle to love yourself. Before we begin to pray, may I gently encourage you to do something. If this prayer resonates with your heart, if these words find you in your own waiting season, Consider sharing this with someone else who might be walking a similar path. Leave a comment below so that I can lift you up specifically in prayer. And if you have not already, subscribe to join us again tomorrow as we continue to cultivate this sacred rhythm of seeking God together. Morning by morning, breath by breath, now let us quiet the noise within and around us. Let us create space for the one who inhabits eternity yet cares about every detail of our temporary struggles. Let us come with expectation, not for instant answers, but for the incomparable gift of His presence in our waiting. Father God, today is Thursday, the 11th of September, and I come to you without pretense, without performance, without the exhausting effort of trying to pray the perfect words. For too long, Lord, I have carried the weight of unanswered prayers like stones in my pocket, each one growing heavier with the passing of time. I have tried to be strong, to maintain unwavering faith, to speak positive confessions, while my heart secretly wondered if you were listening at all. But today, Lord, I choose a different path. I choose honesty over appearance. I choose to bring you my real self rather than my religious self. Here is my truth, laid bare before you. The waiting hurts. The delay feels personal sometimes, as if you are withholding just to test my limits. The silence that greets my prayers some mornings makes me wonder if I am praying to an empty sky. I confess that I have moments where I question not just your timing but your goodness, not just your plan, but your care for me. You have been here with me now for over 10 minutes, choosing to remain in this sacred space while the world rushes on around you. This persistence is already shifting something in the spiritual realm. If you can feel that shift, if the heaviness you woke with is beginning to lift, simply type "still" here in the comments. Those two words declare to heaven and earth that you refuse to give up, that your faith is still breathing, even when it feels weak. These thoughts frighten me, Lord, because I want to be a person of strong faith. But I am learning that true faith is not the absence of questions, but the courage to bring those questions to you. So here I am, bringing you my doubt alongside my belief, my frustration alongside my trust, my weariness alongside my worship. I surrender to you, Father, all my attempts to control time itself. I release the mental timelines I have constructed, those secret deadlines I have given you, as if I could manage the God of the universe like a project with due dates. I let go of the by now thoughts that torment me, the belief that by now I should have received that answer. By now I should have seen that change. By now I should have experienced that breakthrough. I have been living in the tyranny of by now, and it has stolen my peace. Father, I place into your eternal hands my very human understanding of time. I surrender my calendar with all its circled dates of hope. I release my need to know why this is taking so long. I let go of comparing my journey to others, who seem to receive quick answers while I wait in what feels like an endless queue. I confess that I have been more focused on the clock than on your character, more obsessed with when than with who you are. I choose today to quiet the frantic energy within me. I release the need to make something happen through my own effort. I surrender the exhausting work of trying to speed up your purposes or decode your timing. Instead, Lord, I simply ask for your presence. Not your presence, not your solutions, not your interventions, but your presence. Come and sit with me in this waiting room. Let me feel the weight of your companionship more than the weight of my circumstances. Teach me that you are not only the God of destinations, but the God of journeys, not only the God of answers, but the God of questions, not only the God of clarity, but the God who walks with us through fog. I do not need to understand everything right now. I do not need to see the full picture or grasp the complete plan. What I need is to know that you are here, that you are involved, that you are working, even when I see no evidence of movement. What I need is the grace to wait well, to wait with hope rather than bitterness, to wait with expectancy rather than resignation, to wait with worship rather than complaint. So, Father, meet me in this very moment. Let this pause in my life become holy ground. Let this season that feels like delay become a sanctuary where I learn to know you in deeper ways. Transform my waiting from a punishment to endure into a privilege to experience. Teach me, Lord, that some of the most profound growth happens Not in the arriving, but in the journeying. Not in the achieving, but in the believing when there is nothing to show for it. Lord, as Thursday, the 11th of September unfolds, I bring before you the honest struggle of sustained faith. You alone see the internal war between what I know in my head and what I feel in my heart. My theology tells me you are faithful, but my experience whispers that you have forgotten. My beliefs declare you are good, but my circumstances suggest you are distant. I live in this tension, Lord, pulled between truth and feeling, between promise and present reality. I think of Abraham, whom you called to wait decades for a promised son. I think of Joseph, languishing in prison while holding on to dreams you gave him. I think of David, anointed as king yet running for his life in caves. They all waited, Lord. They all wondered. They all wrestled with the gap between your word and their world. And yet, not one of your promises to them fell to the ground unfulfilled. As these promises from Scripture sink into your spirit, notice what is happening in your body. Some of you just felt your shoulders drop, a deep breath you did not even realize you were holding. Others feel tears beginning to form. If peace is replacing the anxiety that has been your companion, if hope is stirring where despair had settled, type peace or simply place a dove emoji in the comments. Let that simple action be your agreement with heaven that something is changing within you. But Lord, knowing their stories and living my own are vastly different experiences. It is one thing to read about their eventual victories and quite another to sit in my own middle chapter, not knowing how or when the plot will resolve. Some days I feel like I am barely holding on, gripping your promises with fingers that ache from the strain. I wonder if I heard you correctly. I wonder if I have somehow disqualified myself from your blessing. I wonder if what I am waiting for will ever materialize, or if I am holding on to false hope. These doubts do not make me faithless. Lord, they make me human. And I believe you have room for my humanity, space for my struggles, patience for my process. So I confess these doubts, not to wallow in them, but to surrender them. I acknowledge my weakness, not to excuse giving up, but to invite your strength. What I ask from you today, Father, is not superhuman faith, but sustainable faith. Not the kind of faith that denies reality, but the kind that perseveres through reality. I need patient endurance, not just patience. I need the grace to keep walking when the path seems to lead nowhere, to keep believing when evidence is scarce, to keep hoping when my heart grows weary. Teach me, Lord, the difference between waiting passively and waiting actively. I do not want to be idle in this season, sitting on the sidelines of my own life, paralyzed by uncertainty. But neither do I want to run ahead of you, forcing doors that you have not opened, creating my own solutions that bypass your wisdom. Show me how to wait with purpose, how to prepare while I wait, how to grow while I wait, how to serve while I wait. Help me to see that this waiting season is not a detention to be endured, but a classroom where you are teaching me invaluable lessons. Perhaps you are teaching me dependence in a way that quick answers never could. Perhaps you are deepening my roots so that when the winds of blessing come, I will not be uprooted by what I am not ready to handle. Perhaps you are protecting me from a premature promotion that would harm more than help. Lord, I ask you to redeem every moment of this waiting. Let nothing be wasted. Let every day that passes without visible progress be a day when invisible progress is made in my character, my faith, my capacity to trust. Build in me a foundation that can hold the weight of answered prayer. Create in me a spirit that can steward blessing with wisdom. And Father, when I am tempted to take matters into my own hands, when impatience rises like a tide threatening to sweep away my peace, remind me of the times in my past when your timing proved perfect. Help me remember the occasions when what felt like delay was actually protection, when what seemed like denial was actually redirection towards something better. You are not a God who delights in withholding. You are not sitting in heaven, amusing yourself with my frustration. You are a Father who gives good gifts, who withholds no good thing from those who walk uprightly. If you are asking me to wait, it is because waiting serves a purpose that blessing without waiting cannot achieve. So I declare today, even through tears, even through questions, even through the ache of hope deferred, that your timing is perfect. Not perfect according to my preferences, but perfect according to your wisdom. Not perfect in my eyes, but perfect in light of eternity. I choose to trust the clockmaker more than I trust the clock. I choose to trust the author more than I demand to understand the story. Right now, across different time zones, over 8,000 people are praying these same words about waiting on God. We are not alone in our waiting rooms. If you want to stand in agreement for everyone mentioned in this prayer, those waiting for healing, restoration, provision, or breakthrough, type Amen as your agreement with heaven and your solidarity with your brothers and sisters in the waiting. Your single word joins with thousands of others, creating a chorus of faith that rises to the throne. Give me strength for today, Lord. Not strength for next month or next year, but strength for today. Give me faith for this moment, grace for this hour, peace for this breath. Tomorrow will require its own faith. But today I choose to believe that you are working. You are present, you are faithful, and your timing, however mysterious, is always rooted in love. Lord, I open your word now, not as a magical formula to speed up my breakthrough, but as an anchor for my soul in the storm of waiting. Your word reminds me in Habakkuk 2-3 that the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie, though it tarries. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. What a paradox this verse presents. It tarries, yet it will not tarry. It delays from my perspective, yet from yours, it arrives exactly on time. This tells me, Lord, that what feels like delay to me is actually divine precision. You are not slow as I count slowness. You are deliberate. You are intentional. You are working with a wisdom that considers factors I cannot see, preparing details I do not know about, orchestrating circumstances beyond my comprehension. In Psalm 130-5, your word declares, I wait for the Lord. My soul waits, and in his word I hope. This is not passive waiting, but active waiting. My soul waits, every part of me engaged in the process of trusting, and what sustains me in the waiting is not positive thinking or forced optimism, but your word. Your promises are more reliable than my feelings, more stable than my circumstances, more enduring than my doubts. And then in 2 Peter 3-9, you remind me that the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some count slackness, but is long-suffering toward us. What I interpret as slowness, you call patience. What I see as delay, you see as mercy. You are not dragging your feet, Lord. You are carefully, lovingly ensuring that when the promise arrives, everything and everyone is ready. Your word tells me in Psalm 27-13-14, I would have lost heart unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. This verse acknowledges the reality that waiting can bring us to the edge of losing heart. It admits that without faith in your eventual goodness, despair would win, but then it commands courage. Not because circumstances are encouraging, but because you promise to strengthen the waiting heart. The repetition, wait, I say, on the Lord emphasizes that this is not a suggestion, but a vital spiritual discipline. Lord, I cling to these promises today. When my emotions scream that you have forgotten, I will answer back with your word. When my circumstances suggest you are absent, I will counter with scripture that declares you are near. When my timeline says it is too late, I will remember that you make all things beautiful in your time. Your promises are not just words on a page. They are the very foundation of reality. Heaven and earth will pass away, but your words will never pass away. Governments rise and fall, economies boom and bust, relationships come and go, but your word stands forever. And if you have spoken it, you will perform it. If you have promised it, you will fulfill it. If your word declares it, I can bank my life on it. So today, I choose to feed my faith with your word rather than feeding my doubts with my fears. I choose to meditate on what you have said rather than obsessing over what I have not yet seen. I choose to let your promises be louder in my heart than the voice of discouragement. Father, I anchor myself, not in what I see, but in what you have spoken. I trust not in the visible evidence, but in your invisible hand. I rest not in my ability to figure things out, but in your faithfulness to work all things together for good. Let your word be a lamp to my feet in this darkness of uncertainty. Let your promises be the rope I hold on to when everything else feels slippery. Let your truth be the solid ground I stand on when everything around me feels like shifting sand. And Lord, let me not just read your word, but let your word read me. Let it examine my heart, expose my doubts, strengthen my weak places, and build faith where fear has tried to take root. Let your promises sink deep, past my intellect into my spirit, until they become more real to me than what my eyes see or my circumstances suggest. Father, on this Thursday, the 11th of September, my heart expands beyond my own needs to embrace those who are also walking through their own valleys of waiting. I lift up to you the mother who sits by her child's hospital bed, counting machines beeping and praying for healing that seems so slow to come. She has memorized every tile on the floor, every sound in the hallway, every nurse's footsteps. Her faith fights against medical reports. Her hope wrestles with statistics. Lord, remind her that you are the God who breathed life into dust, who spoke worlds into existence, who raises the dead. Remind her that no diagnosis is final when you have the final say. Whether healing comes through medicine or miracle, quickly or gradually, completely or differently than expected, wrap her in the assurance that you are present in that hospital room, that you collect every tear, that you hear every whispered prayer, even the ones too deep for words. I lift up the father whose child has wandered into darkness, whose prayers for their return seem to echo in emptiness. Every phone call makes his heart race, hoping for good news but fearing the worst. Every day that passes without reconciliation feels like a small death. Lord, you know the exact location of every prodigal. You see them even when they are in the far country. You are working in ways that parent cannot see, speaking to that child's heart in the quiet moments, orchestrating circumstances to turn their feet toward home. Give that parent the strength to keep the light on, to keep the door open, to keep love alive, even when it is not reciprocated. I pray for the spouse who lies next to a stranger, wondering what happened to the love that once burned bright. Where laughter once lived, silence has moved in. Where intimacy flourished, distance has grown like a wall. They have prayed for restoration until the words feel worn out. Lord, you are the God who makes dead things live again. You can resurrect love that seems buried, restore communication that has broken down, rebuild trust that has been shattered. Give them wisdom to know what to say and when to be quiet, when to stand firm and when to bend, how to love without enabling, how to hope without being naive. I lift up the one who has sent countless resumes into what feels like a void, whose skills seem unwanted, whose experience seems overlooked. The bills keep coming while opportunities remain elusive. The pressure builds with each passing day. Fear whispers lies about worth being tied to employment. Lord, you are Jehovah Jireh, the provider who sees and supplies. You have already prepared the position that will perfectly match their gifts. You are working behind the scenes, in boardrooms and through connections they do not yet know. Give them courage to keep searching, wisdom to prepare, and peace that their value comes not from a job title, but from being your child. Father, I pray for the one waiting for a life partner, who watches others pair off while they remain alone. They wonder if they are too picky or not attractive enough, too broken or just overlooked. The ache of loneliness is real, and the fear of permanent solitude haunts quiet moments. Lord, remind them that you are writing their love story with perfect timing. The wait is not because they are lacking, but because you are preparing something worth waiting for. Help them to become the person their future spouse needs, to find fulfillment in you that no human relationship can provide, to trust that your timing in this area, as in all others, is perfect. I lift up those waiting for physical healing, whose bodies have become battlegrounds, whose normal has been redefined by limitation and pain. They have stood on healing scriptures until their knees are weak, claimed promises until their voices are hoarse. Lord, you are still the great physician. Whether healing comes instantly, gradually, or waits until eternity, you are present in the pain. Give them grace for each difficult day, strength beyond their physical capacity, and glimpses of joy even in suffering. For all of us who wait, Lord, I pray for a special grace, the grace to encourage one another without offering hollow platitudes, the grace to sit with someone in their pain without trying to fix it, the grace to say, I do not understand, but I am here with you. Help us to bear one another's burdens without adding the burden of unsolicited advice. Help us to weep with those who weep without rushing them to rejoice. Create in us a community of waiters who understand that waiting is not weakness, that questions are not blasphemy, that tears are not failure. Let us link arms in the darkness, sharing the light we have, however flickering it might be. Let us be honest about our struggles, while pointing each other to hope. Let us create safe spaces where people can say, I am struggling to believe today, without being met with judgment or simplistic solutions. Lord, help us to remember that every hero of faith had seasons of waiting, seasons of doubt, seasons where heaven seemed brass and earth seemed iron. They were not superhuman. They were simply humans who chose to hold on one more day, to take one more step, to breathe one more breath of faith, and in the end, not one of them regretted trusting you. So strengthen us, Lord, your waiting ones. We are not waiting alone. We are not forgotten. We are held by the same God who holds the universe in place. Our times are in your hands, and your hands are good, even when we cannot feel them, even when we cannot see them. Your hands are good. Lord, I come to the heart of what waiting does to us. It strips us. It reveals what is really inside. When life proceeds according to our plans, it is easy to maintain a veneer of faith, but waiting exposes the depth or shallowness of our trust. It shows us whether we love you for who you are or merely for what you can do for us. And Lord, I must confess, the stripping has revealed things in me I wish were not there. I have discovered that my faith has conditions, that my trust has limits, that my love for you is often tangled up with my love for your benefits. I have found impatience where I thought there was submission, control where I thought there was surrender, demands where I thought there were requests. But Father, I thank you that waiting not only reveals, but also refines. What the waiting exposes, your grace can transform. What the delay uncovers, your spirit can heal. So I ask you to use this time not just to answer my prayers, but to change my heart, not just to fix my circumstances, but to transform my character. Make me into someone who can carry the weight of answered prayer without becoming proud. Shape me into someone who can handle blessing without forgetting the blesser. Form me into someone whose faith is not dependent on outcomes, but rooted in relationship with you. I do not want to waste this waiting. Lord, I do not want to merely endure it, grit my teeth, and push through unchanged. I want to emerge from this season different, deeper, more like you. Teach me to number my days in this waiting, not by marking time until it ends, but by making each day count. Help me to live fully even while I wait, to embrace today even while I hope for tomorrow, to find purpose in the present even while I long for the future. Show me that waiting is not life on hold, but life in a different classroom. Perhaps this waiting is saving me from something I cannot see. Perhaps what looks like a closed door is actually protection from a path that would lead to pain. Perhaps the very thing I am begging you to hurry is something that, in your wisdom, needs more time to develop properly. I yield to your omniscience. Lord, you see the end from the beginning. You know, the fullness of my story. You understand how this chapter fits into the whole book. So I surrender not just my timeline, but my entire agenda. I lay down not just my impatience, but my insistence on understanding. I release not just my grip on control, but my demand for explanation. I trust you in the mystery. I trust you in the silence. I trust you in the waiting, and Lord, when the waiting ends, when the answer comes, when the breakthrough arrives, let me not forget these days. Let me not become someone who only remembers the destination and forgets the journey. Let me be able to look back and say, those waiting days were hard, but they were holy. They were painful, but they were precious. They were long, but they were necessary. Because in the waiting, Lord, I found more than just answers to prayer. I found you. I discovered depths of your character I would have missed in the shallows of easy faith. I learned to hear your whisper in the silence, to feel your presence in the emptiness, to see your hand in the hiddenness. So even as I long for the waiting to end, I thank you for what it is producing. Even as I pray for breakthrough, I thank you for the building that is happening. Even as I yearn for answers, I thank you for the questions that have driven me deeper into your heart. If you have stayed through this entire journey, investing nearly 30 minutes in anchoring your soul in God's perfect timing, something powerful has been released. You are not the same person who began reading. If you believe God's timing is perfect even when you cannot see it, if you choose to trust His clock over yours, seal this prayer by typing, "I trust your timing" in the comments. And if you know someone else in a waiting season who needs this hope, share this prayer with them today. You might be the answer to their cry for encouragement. Lord, I want to be real about something. There are moments in this waiting when I feel forgotten by you. And that feeling is perhaps the most painful part of all. When I see others receive swift answers while my prayers seem to hang in the air unanswered. When I watch dreams fulfilled for those around me while mine remain deferred. A whisper starts in my heart that maybe you care for others more than you care for me. I know in my theology that you do not play favorites, that you love each of your children with infinite equal passion. But Lord, my feelings do not always align with my theology. Sometimes I feel like the child pressed against the window, watching others open presents, while wondering if my name was left off the gift list. Sometimes I feel like heaven's forgotten address, like my prayers got lost in transit, like my file fell behind your desk. These feelings embarrass me, Lord. They seem so childish, so selfish, so unlike what a mature believer should feel. But you invite me to come as a child, and children are honest about feeling overlooked. So I bring you this raw place, this tender bruise on my heart that wonders if you have forgotten me. But even as I confess these feelings, your spirit reminds me of truth. You cannot forget what is engraved on your palms. You cannot overlook what you died to redeem. You cannot abandon what you purchased with your own blood. My name is written in your book. My tears are stored in your bottle. My prayers are kept in golden bowls before your throne. Not one has been lost. Not one has been ignored. Not one has been deemed unimportant. Lord, help me to trust your perfect attention, even when I feel overlooked. Help me to believe in your intimate involvement, even when I see no evidence. Help me to rest in the truth that you are working on my behalf, even in this very moment, orchestrating details I cannot see, moving pieces I do not know exist, preparing answers that will be worth the wait. Forgive me for measuring your love by the speed of your answers. Forgive me for judging your care by the timing of your interventions. Forgive me for the arrogance of thinking I know better than you when and how my prayers should be answered. You are not a genie obligated to grant wishes on my schedule. You are a Father who gives good gifts at the right time, in the right way, for the right reasons. I think of Mary and Martha, sending word to you that Lazarus was sick, expecting you to rush to his aid. But you waited. You stayed where you were for 2 more days while their brother died, while their hearts broke, while their faith was tested to the limit. They must have felt forgotten, abandoned, let down by the one they trusted most. But your delay was not cruel. It was strategic. You were setting the stage for a greater miracle, a deeper revelation of who you are. Lord, could it be that my waiting is like theirs? Could it be that what feels like forgetfulness is actually the setup for something greater than I have asked? Could it be that you are allowing the situation to become impossible so that when you move, no one can mistake it for coincidence? Could it be that the very intensity of my waiting will magnify the glory of your answer? I choose to believe, Lord, that you are not distant but near, not forgetful but faithful, not uncaring but careful with my life. I choose to trust that every day of waiting is a day closer to fulfillment. Every prayer that seems unanswered is actually being answered in ways I cannot yet see. Every tear I cry in the darkness is seen by you and will be transformed into joy. So I release the lie that I am forgotten. I reject the whisper that I am overlooked. I refuse the suggestion that my prayers matter less than others. I am your beloved child, and you are my attentive Father. Nothing about my life escapes your notice. Nothing about my pain is beneath your care. Nothing about my waiting is outside your purpose. And when the enemy whispers that you have forgotten me, I will whisper back the truth. I am engraved on his palms. I am the apple of his eye. I am carried in his heart. I am always on his mind. I am never forgotten, never abandoned, never alone. Father, as this prayer draws toward its close, I want to return to a simple but profound truth. In this waiting, you have been teaching me something I could not have learned any other way. You have been showing me that my greatest need is not the thing I am waiting for, but you yourself. I came to you initially because I needed something from you. But in the waiting, I am discovering that what I really need is more of you. If you had answered my prayer immediately, I might have taken the gift and missed the giver. If you had rushed to solve my problem, I might have celebrated the solution and neglected the solver. But in this extended time of seeking, of pressing in, of crying out, I have found treasure I was not looking for. I have found that your presence is better than your presence, that knowing you is better than getting things from you, that walking with you through the valley is better than being airlifted out of it. This waiting has forced me to examine my motives, to purify my desires, to clarify what really matters. I am learning that I can live without the thing I am waiting for, but I cannot live without you. I am discovering that my joy does not have to be held hostage by my circumstances, that my peace does not have to depend on problems being solved, that my hope does not have to wait for visible evidence. You are teaching me to worship in the wilderness, to sing in the storm, to dance in the delay. You are showing me that faith is not about getting what I want, but about trusting who you are. You are proving to me that you are enough, even when my hands are empty, even when my dreams are deferred, even when my prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling. Lord, I do not know when this waiting will end. I do not know if the answer will come tomorrow, next month, next year, or in a way I never expected. But I do know this. You are worth waiting for. You are worth trusting. You are worth the process, however long and difficult it may be. So I make a declaration today, not born of emotion, but of decision. I will wait on you, not grudgingly, but willingly, not as a victim, but as a student, not with clenched fists, but with open hands. I will wait because you are worthy of my trust. I will wait because your timing is perfect. I will wait because the lessons learned in waiting are as valuable as the answer I seek. And while I wait, I will not waste the time. I will grow. I will serve. I will love. I will encourage others who wait. I will become more like you. I will let patience have her perfect work in me. I will allow faith to stretch and strengthen like a muscle under resistance. One day, Lord, this waiting will be a memory. One day, I will look back and see your fingerprints all over this season. One day, I will understand the why behind the wait. One day, I will thank you not just for the answer, but for the journey that led to it. One day, I will see that the waiting was not punishment, but preparation. Not cruelty, but kindness. Not abandonment, but deep, transforming love. Until that day comes, I rest in you. Not in explanations, but in you. Not in timelines, but in you. Not in outcomes, but in you. You are my portion, my refuge, my very present help in trouble. You are the God who sees, the God who knows, the God who acts at exactly the right time, and that is enough. You are enough. Today, tomorrow, and forever. You are enough. Dear friend, as we close this sacred time together, I want to leave you with truth that I pray will sink deep into your spirit and remain there long after these words fade. Your waiting is not meaningless. Your patience is not pointless. Your endurance is not in vain. Every day that you choose to trust when you cannot see, every moment that you choose to believe when evidence seems absent, every breath that you take in faith when fear tries to suffocate hope, it all matters. It is all being woven into something beautiful, something purposeful, something that will one day make sense in the light of eternity. You are not too late for your miracle. You have not missed your moment. You are not forgotten by heaven. The same God who hung the stars in space knows exactly where you are in your journey. The same God who tells the ocean where to stop is perfectly aware of how long you have been waiting. The same God who numbers every hair on your head has numbered every tear you have cried. His silence does not mean he is absent. His delay does not mean he is denial. His timing, though mysterious to our finite minds, is always perfect, always purposeful, always motivated by love too deep for us to fully comprehend. He is not playing games with your heart. He is not testing you to see how much you can endure. He is preparing you, protecting you, positioning you for promises that are worth the wait. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply to keep breathing, to keep waking up, to keep putting one foot in front of the other when you cannot see where the path leads. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is not eloquent words, but a simple whisper of, "I still trust you." Sometimes the most profound worship happens not on the mountaintop of answered prayer, but in the valley of waiting. Your story is not over. The chapter you are in right now, with all its question marks and uncertainties, is not the final chapter. The author is still writing, and he specializes in plot twists that transform valleys into victories, waiting into worship, delays into divine appointments. Do not close the book in the middle. Do not assume that because you cannot see the resolution, there is not one coming. Keep praying, even when the words feel repetitive, even when your faith feels small, even when you wonder if anyone is listening. Every prayer is heard, every cry is recorded, every whisper of your heart reaches the throne room of heaven. Keep trusting, even when your hands shake, even when your voice trembles, even when doubt knocks loudly at the door of your heart. Faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains, and sometimes the greatest faith is simply refusing to let go. Keep believing, not in your ability to figure things out, not in your strength to endure, but in the God who has never failed anyone who put their trust in him. His track record is perfect. His faithfulness is flawless. His love is limitless. And he is working for you right now, at this very moment, whether you feel it or not, whether you see it or not, whether you understand it or not. One day, beloved, you will look back on this season of waiting, and you will see it differently. What looks like wasted time now will be revealed as sacred preparation. What feels like divine silence will be understood as divine strategy. What seems like random delay will be recognized as perfect timing. And you will not say, "I wish I had not had to wait." You will say, "Thank you, Lord, for loving me enough to make me wait, for caring enough to prepare me properly, for being wise enough to withhold until I was ready to receive." Until that day comes, rest in his presence. Let his peace guard your heart and mind. Let his love be the anchor that holds you steady in the storm. Let his promises be more real to you than your problems. Let his word be more powerful in your life than your worries. You are seen, you are loved, you are held, you are remembered, you are treasured. You are never alone, never abandoned, never forgotten. The God of the universe is intimately involved in your life, passionately committed to your good, and perfectly timing every detail of your story. May his peace that surpasses understanding flood your heart right now. May his joy that is not dependent on circumstances rise up within you. May his hope that does not disappoint take root in the deepest places of your soul. May his love that never fails surround you, sustain you, and strengthen you for every day of waiting that remains. You are going to make it, dear one. not because you are strong enough, but because He is. Not because you have enough faith, but because He is faithful. Not because you can see the way forward, but because He is the way. Keep holding on. Keep pressing in. Keep looking up. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Your answer may be just around the corner. Your miracle may be in motion even now. But even if more waiting is required, you can do this. You can wait with grace. You can endure with hope. You can persist with peace because you do not wait alone. He waits with you, and in His presence, even waiting becomes a sacred gift. In Jesus' precious and powerful name, Amen.